Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Ric Flair's last match happened last night, and we're going to tell you what happened.
Yes, I'm going to bring you an update on the health of Ric Flair following his last match.
WWE have deleted Vince McMahon's name backstage, sort of.
And Triple H made a huge change at this year's SummerSlam. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Alright, we might as well kick this thing off by talking about Ric Flair and his last match, right? This is all anyone's been talking about today, and understandably so. Yesterday, all anyone was talking about was SummerSlam because of the Triple H stuff that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And, you know, some high quality matches as well. But yeah, Ric Flair's last match. So as we knew, it was him and his son-in-law, Andrade, against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in the main event. Spoiler alert, I guess. Although, why would you watch a video about it if you didn't already know? They won. Rick and Andrade won. Rick applied figure four on Jeff, and he scored the win. It was a plpinfall. But man, this was. You know what? We don't come on here and we don't sit here and go. People, you know, often we don't play safety police or whatever you want to call it. We don't concern troll. We go, hey. People are adults and whatever, and they can do whatever they want. However, I will say that I felt extremely uncomfortable watching this match, and we probably should have seen that coming when it went 27 minutes. So let's just dive into this a little bit. Jeff Jarrett was amazing in this match.
Of course.
Like, incredible pantomime villain, proper like territory-inspired stuff, like taking powders. Karen was awesome as well. She got to shoot out. Of course she did. Andrade and Jay Lethal worked very hard, as you'd expect. Jay Lethal has been training with Rick in preparation for this, so he knows what he's capable and what he isn't capable of, and all of that stuff. But man, the last 10 minutes of this, I thought were really tough to watch, and not in a good way, not in the pro wrestling like generated kayfabe drama kind of way, not in the way that they've leveraged certain concerns to create this incredible in-ring narrative, not manufactured drama, real drama, because there was about 10 minutes of this where Ric Flair barely could move. There was a moment where Andrade went to tag him, and because he's 73 years old and he almost died 5 years ago and he has a pacemaker, so it's understandable that this thing was the way it was. But there was one point where Andrade tried to tag him and Rick was only really capable of going on, like he was on the deck and he could only really get under the bottom rope. There's another one where Andrade's trying to give him the brass knuckles, but he can't get them around Rick's fingers, and Rick can't do it himself because he's pretty much convulsing on the mat. He has to pick him up for the finish. He hits Jarrett with the brass knuckles and then he applies the figure four, but because he's so physically spent, he can't really do anything with the figure four. It's like, it's really that move in name only. The execution wasn't there, and when the referee David Miller counts, the three Rick's shoulders are down as well because he's so goosed and he's so spent. He bled a lot because of course he did. And I'm not saying that contributed to it, but on the whole, just like a really uneasy match. Not even from a fake wrestling standpoint, from a generated drama. Like, I saw a lot of people going, we all got worked. I don't think we did. I think this was a 73-year-old man who knocked on death's door 5 years ago doing everything he was capable of, and unfortunately everything he was capable of was basically nothing in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it's over.
Yeah, I think they were going for the whole Randy the Ram, the wrestler, sort of, one more go-around thing, and yeah, from the bits I've seen, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I think you're right. I think the longer this match goes, the more you're like, all right, I just want this to end just for the, the well-being of the performers.
It was excruciating, and I know what they were going for. And in the arena, right, it probably did have a bit of that magic. But when you're watching it through this little screen and whatever, it's not. It absolutely didn't. I mean, the guy was limping when he came out for the entrance and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get why that is. He's really old and he's had some significant health problems. But yeah, no, this was not a good time, I don't think. But better news.
Yes, from Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who provided a health update on Ric Flair following this ordeal that he went through. 2 doctors checked Rick out following the match, and while he was described as spent following the bout, as you would expect, somebody who's spoken with him claimed that Rick was doing great and was well enough to head to the after party at Kid Rock's Nashville bar.
Big weekend for Kid Rock. He was on SummerSlam as well.
That was, that was Summit.
Yeah, sucking face.
Yup.
Was he sucking face last night as well? I didn't notice.
I have no idea. I'm not going to
Kayla
check the
Braxton
internet to
said she
find
doesn't
out.
need to see that anymore, and I agree with her.
I agree with her.
Yeah.
But yes, relieved to find out, Andy, that Ric Flair is spent but great.
Yeah, Mark Raimondi of ESPN tweeted as well, saying that Rick was doing okay after that. That's the main thing, obviously, because when you see him, and this guy was legitimately struggling. That wasn't a work. If you think that's a work, congratulations on falling for it, I guess. He was he got up and he cut a promo afterwards, and he was going up the ramp and stuff, but it was quite clear that the guy was struggling in the ring, as you'd expect. So hey, look, there we go. I'm gonna get a bunch of hate for this, I know I am, but I've got to give you my honest opinion. I'm not gonna come on here and spit some shill nonsense. This is how we feel about it. So hey,
I'm just glad that's the last match.
Yeah,
that's it, right? And no wrestler has ever gone back on their word saying that was their last match.
I sincerely hope it was.
Yeah,
put it that way. But hey, right, let's move over to some different news. Vince McMahon's name has been deleted backstage in WWE, and by that, I mean they've changed the sign on the door.
Yes.
Actually, PW Insider in their initial report used the word eradicated.
Oh,
they've
Thanos snapped out of existence.
Vince McMahon's backstage, but basically the office, the CEO's office, is no longer labeled Vince McMahon. It is now CEO's office, and there's another office labeled for Paul Levesque, Triple H, head of creative, EVP, talent relations, the big boy. He's a big boy now. Obviously, Stephanie McMahon is co-CEO with Nick Khan. Stephanie's also chairwoman. So that's how things have panned out. In the wake of Vince resigning from this company in disgrace, there is no remaining trace of any signage that would have previously featured Vince's name backstage in WWE. The old man is gone.
Yes, and my sources tell me that when you open the CEO's door backstage, it now plays Welcome to the Queendom. Whether it's Steph or Nick in there, apparently Nick thinks an absolute banger. So
it's Nick Khan's relative spinning the dub. What's his name again? He did SummerSlam, he did WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, is that him? I had no idea about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was great. He was hyping everyone up at WrestleMania. Good.
Yeah. Next.
Hopefully SummerSlam was an indication that things are changing around here and it's not just backstage signs.
Speaking of which,
Triple H made big changes at SummerSlam. Apparently without Triple H, Becky Lynch would not have turned babyface. What? This was the story, I thought. I think a lot of us has just assumed, one more match. It was a great match. Bianca
awesome.
Belair retained the Raw Women's Championship, and then we thought, maybe he didn't book exactly what went down, but subsequent to SummerSlam, I think we all thought that the babyface turn was going to happen on the big road to presumably a match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 39. But PW Torch reported that apparently, now Triple H had to make this call. He decided to change the alignment at the event, so she would have just stayed heel.
Yeah, I guess. What? Right? So,
and obviously that was a drop in the ocean compared to the other huge changes we saw coming in down the line at SummerSlam. Obviously the return of Bayley, Io Sky, as she's now known, and the return of Dakota Kai. Already just 3 signs of guys, is everything going to be all right?
This is cool. Yeah, Fightful Select came through for a report as well, stating that stable, that trio, had actually been pitched to Vince before Dakota Kai was released, of course. And Vince said, no, I don't want it.
You're a dumbass, Vince.
Yeah,
You're a dumbass.
There were other versions of it as well involving the now Alba Fire and Raquel Rodriguez, and it didn't come to fruition, but it did obviously at SummerSlam. This was such a huge buzzing moment. I actually thought the first hour of SummerSlam was close to perfect. That match was awesome. The angle was awesome. Show respect from Becky was awesome. Logan Paul again was awesome. I'm happy to take the L on that. That was tremendous. There's some. It was straight out of the Triple H playbook. The angle, I loved it because it was person, pop, pop. Face off, no fight. And I'm not criticising it for the record.
Gotta watch the TV following that, baby.
But it was straight out of the 2019 NXT playbook. I think that, I had a few people in my mentions going, it's just 3 people thrown together. I think that, maybe if you're viewing it in that 5-minute microcosm,
Yes.
fine. But if they come up with a cool explanation for why they're together, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't need another Team Bad. Basically.
Yeah, this is it. Like,
it's no disrespect to Team Bad, by the way.
Yeah.
But when they had that period where they're like, the Women's Revolution's here, and they're all in nice, neat little 3-person groups.
They also had the Street Profits theme song, Team Bad. People forget that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The instrumental was it was called Unity, however. I'm getting off track here. I think the problem with thrown together tandems is when there's no explanation, no reason. It's just, hey, we're not doing anything with these people. If they come out on Raw and go, hey, we're together because I've been ready to wrestle for 6 months and no one's called me, and Io's not been here, she's been off for 3 months, and Dakota got released and we've been like overlooked or whatever, that makes perfect sense because then they have a common goal. But yeah, this was good. And I will say, I'm well aware that I filled this video with opinions. Io Sky is a far better name change than most of the ones they do these days.
Remember when she jumped off with the bin on her head?
Remember when Brock Lesnar jumped off a scoop? Should have put a bin on his head.
Roman Reigns caught the mic and winked, and I think I'm pregnant now. I love SummerSlam. We'll be talking all about it later on, myself and Hamlet, in the podcast review. What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. But let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course. First question today comes from Paradigm, who says, "Good morning, King of the Mic and heel with the eel."
I've left the eel in the
house.
There's no eel.
Try and kick it into the camera. I wasn't here when you did it.
Might fall and break the 2,000-pound camera.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's light work. Short change. That's chicken feed for me, mate.
All right.
All the mics that I get sent off. By the way, speaking of money, it's a week today, my birthday, so if you're going to send stuff,
Actually, speaking of money, it's only £5 for our show on the Friday night in Wales, Sin City Comics, Newport.
Last in Newport, baby.
If you're going to Clash at the Castle, you want something to do on your Friday night, this can be a chilled out affair, come see us. £5. Is it Down Syndrome Northeast charity that we're donating all the proceeds to? It'll be a far more laid back affair than our Saturday show, which is going to be glitz and glam. By the way, at the time of recording, for that Cardiff show, 6 tickets left.
Really?
We released a new run of 100 on Friday. We got 6 left. Hopefully they'll still be here when you're seeing this. If they're not, I'm sorry. But there we go.
Anyway, Paradigm's question says,
which
previously underutilized star do you see being Triple H's first big push?
Big push.
Have a great day, gents. Have a great
push. Ricochet, why not? I don't necessarily think that Triple H he's the first guy who's going to go, hey, you're a world champion now. But I think with regards from going basically doing next to nothing to getting elevated, I think he's a pretty good candidate.
Yeah, I mean, my brain always goes to an underutilized star who deserves a push, Chad Gable. But he's got a bit of attention already, but not
solid
in the same way.
Presence.
An obvious one to say he's not underutilized, but the signs are there regarding Montez Ford, aren't they, with them not winning the tag titles and that little moment afterwards. But I just got to wholeheartedly agree with you. Yeah, more Ricochet on my screen, please, because he has had one world title match and it went 10 seconds.
Yeah, I will say if Johnny Gargano comes back in soon, and I think he might, he's going full force as well.
Doggy.
But he's not really underutilized because he hasn't been on the main roster. But yeah.
Aaron, where are you? Aaron on Twitter, right?
Aaron, right.
With Vince out and a new regime unfolding in WWE, do you think we will actually start seeing an influx of wrestlers jumping from AEW to WWE?
So I think influx is probably too strong a word to use, but WWE unquestionably becomes more of an attractive proposition now because Vince isn't there. The USP...
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Not we've got this new person in that's going to do all this. Hey, the old guy's not here anymore.
This is a huge benefit to WWE, and like all the flower throwing that's gone on for this crazy old man and his terrible creative for the past few years is mind-blowing in recent weeks. This is a huge benefit to them. How many people have left that company because they didn't like their creative, they didn't like their push, they didn't like what this crazy old man was sending them? The list, it starts with one of the biggest names in the company, Jon Moxley, and it continues from there. So yes, AEW's USP was you can come here, you can be on a mainstream American wrestling show, and we will use you differently to that guy across town. Well, that guy across town is no longer there, which breeds renewed hope for the future. I will say that whether or not Triple H is going to click his fingers and immediately make things better, I'm not convinced of that.
No.
And the proof will be in the pudding, as they say. But yeah, no, immediately WWE is a more attractive proposition. Check out the article I wrote about this on our website, why AEW should be worried about the new WWE. It's on there, check it out.
Maxwell, come on, mate. Come on.
He don't like you anymore.
What?
Man told me so.
Well, unless that's all a big work, but I mean,
That was that barbecue.
come on,
with
Max
me
wouldn't
the
work,
weekend.
mate. It's not going to work, mate.
Yeah, we're friends now.
Right, final question today comes from Mark Lee Willis, who writes, oh, cue England football song. Is he saying that football came home yesterday? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Football's come home. It's finally happened. Thank you to the England women for actually doing something good for England football, because the men are bloody rubbish. Anyway.
Yeah, that, I mean, they more than made good for that absolute failure of a national team that the men are.
Come on.
Loser in his waistcoat.
Got
all the way to the final.
Put some respect on
If
Gareth
you're gonna
Southgate's name.
if you're gonna go out of a tournament, why wouldn't you just do it in the first round?
Get it over and done with.
Why would you waste your time and go all the way to the final? England's men team are a bunch of losers. The Lionesses, complete success.
Get in.
Yeah. Gareth Southgate sucks.
Mark writes, I've never been to a show. Hopefully in 5 weeks, though, that changes. Fingers crossed, Mark.
Remember when we beat you 0-0?
Yeah, I remember that. So many idiotic England fans. Do you think when something is set up in plain sight of the crowd, though, it spoils any surprises for them, i.e. Edge's SummerSlam entrance and Io Shirai's new name? What's up with that?
Yeah.
I like Io Sky. I'm fine with it.
I don't necessarily like it, but I think it's a lot better. It could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been like Io Williamson or just some complete nonsense they plucked out.
Io, let's go.
Io Ramone. There you go. Yes.
Surprise-wise,
yeah, you're dead right. It's a necessary sacrifice for what they want to create on TV. There's not really any way you can hide stuff like that, is there? So I think if you want to go, they're sacrificing the in-arena experience, which for SummerSlam would be about 36,000, I think.
Kane told me it was 46. Or
Oh, actually, well,
you're telling me he's lied?
Michael Cole told me it was 95. They're sacrificing the experiences of 36,000 for however million are watching at home, aren't they? So is that a trade-off that's acceptable for people who are paying tickets? You can decide that. I think it probably is.
Yes, I think if it's, something, maybe like a big entrance for something you know is already happening. Like we were there when they were like pulling out all the big cars and stuff.
And they couldn't get them back in.
That was a nightmare. But and then you've been there before. You're like, oh, what could that be setting up for? But yeah, when they're setting up a big stage with a load of flame in the middle of a Mysterios match, you're like, and the Judgment Day, obviously, you're like, oh, cool. So Edge is coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's one of those, isn't it? It's the exchange you have. Of occasionally, you might get something slightly spoiled for you if you're in attendance, but you also get to be there. So
yeah, this is it. It's just an accepted thing. I will say that it's pretty interesting from a wrestler standpoint as well. If you're the Judgment Day and you're wrestling this match and you're the guy who isn't involved, you stand there going, what are those guys doing suspiciously? What are they building over there, guys? What's going to happen? Is this, that does make them look a bit dumb, actually, come to think of it. But then the stage was like round the corner.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's a long old trek that, wasn't it, into the ring?
Yeah, it was so funny. Like
when Bailey came out, and I was like, oh, she's still walking.
Yeah, she's taking her time. I don't think it diminished from the moment whatsoever. But when Io, she does the crazy movements and stuff because the voice is in her head when she comes out. She was doing that for about 10 years. I was like, oh, you poor person.
Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree with you sometimes. Why is that being built in the midst of something?
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious. Anyway, let's move on to today's and finally, and shout out to Reddit user Wisp on the Wind, who shared this on Squared Circle. This is the car I rode my bike past yesterday. I found out it's a fan's car, not his. Andy, check out this whip.
Oh. Oh my God.
If you have any other wrestler-themed cars that you've seen, please do send it to us, because the Stingmobile is absolutely sensational.
I'm actually quite disappointed that isn't Sting's own car. Because, before he became like an insane homophobic dickhead weirdo, the Ultimate Warrior, there was a story about him driving around town in his own car with his face sprayed on the front, blasting his entrance music. If he hadn't turned out to be such an irredeemable human being, that'd be tremendous lore.
Yeah.
But this rules because Sting is actually a good guy as well. So awesome.
Whose car would you like to see, actually?
Fiend. Obviously.
Fiendmobile. That's commissioned for Friday,
rims,
ladies and gentlemen.
Spinning rims with his face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fiendmobile, send it to me today. You'll go on the news.
Like when kids draw like Inspector Gadget's car for Blue Peter, and they say, and if this happens, then this where's the goo coming out of?
Yeah.
What's the box-shaped structure?
The box, oh God. Me and Adam Nicholas actually, a few years ago in a video, fantasy booked the Fiend's WrestleMania entrance on a monster truck with spinning rims.
got it.
Don't know what video that was on, but if we could find it, we would put it here. We won't be able to, but you know.
Any more Wrestler-mobiles or the Fiend-mobile mainly, send it to us.
Fiend-mobile.
Hey. At WhatCulture WW on Twitter. Watch, they can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H Murray. The H stands for hey. Let's never do that again.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all.
What am I talking about?
WWE. Take your pick. Like, share, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.